Are good and evil two sides of the same coin? Get God Failed, Ariel Langford's disturbing account of a tortured soul manipulated by good and by evil. God Failed is available everywhere digital books are sold. What does that mean for us? The investigation.
More importantly, what does it mean for our souls?
We're searching for the Demonic Testament, a book written by a demon, and you're coming with us.
Hi everyone. Tonight we're going to explore the many deaths that are associated with this investigation and what might have happened to their souls.
Yeah, Sutton and I have been talking a lot this week about, well, in a sense, we're going back to the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So, you guys all know this whole investigation started over stories that I heard while on my world tour last spring. And one of these stories, which people were calling Soul Stealer, talked about a demon who took souls that weren't his to take.
Right. And after last week's show, it got us thinking about what happened to the souls of those who made contact with Surath.
Yeah, because, I'm pretty sure the demon in these stories is Surath. And so, if my theory is right...
That Surath is working for himself.
Yes. That if he's gone rogue, how does this change things? When Gano was here, or I don't know, maybe he said it in one of the notes he sent us, I don't remember, but he said something about a rule that can't be broken. Now, I have no idea what that means, but... is Surath breaking this rule in order to take over? And if so, what happens when that rule is broken?
Well, Gano also said that good and evil doesn't work the way we think it does. And I'm beginning to think that the rule that can't be broken has to do with free will. And a balance of sorts.
Balance?
Yeah. So, what if the concept of free will is all bullshit? Heaven, hell, purgatory. What if none of that is true and we're at the mercy of some scoreboard somewhere?
The scoreboard that keeps the good and evil balanced?
Yep.
Well, that makes sense. Gounod did say that when you die, you are judged by purgatorians and not by God. He also claims to be from purgatory, so... we know at least purgatory exists.
Do we? I mean, we're trusting the words of someone who claims to have lived during the Black Plague. Someone who claims to be part of an elite force made up of him, a Viking, and none other than Michael the Archangel.
Okay, all right, good point.
Well, how do we know Gano, and the Viking for that matter, aren't working for Surath just to fuck with us?
Okay, another good point. I mean, Surath is a master at manipulation, so I guess we don't really know if Surath is fucking with us or not. But the problem is here, right now, we can't prove or disprove any of this. So at some point, we either accept Gounod is who and what he says he is, or we dismiss it. And if we dismiss it, and everything like it, then where are we in this investigation? I mean, this investigation relies on accepting the unacceptable, believing the unbelievable, until something proves that false.
So until we have proof Gano is lying, we trust what he tells us.
Yep. I mean, we don't really have a choice. We have to trust that even the lies, if that's what they are, will lead us to the truth. Because sometimes that's all you have to work with.
That sounds risky.
It is. It is. And you know that firsthand. I mean, you've risked everything to move back into this house. For what? Just to find the truth.
So true.
So the real question isn't whether or not we believe the lie, but how we use what we already know to prove or disprove that lie. Like, take the 12 deaths in the backyard.
The apostles?
Yes. Well, that's what we think anyway. There's still a lot of questions we haven't asked yet.
Like what?
Well, we believe that they're under the control of Surath.
You don't think so anymore?
No, it's not that. It's really, how do 12 people die, resurrect like Jesus during Holy Week, and end up working for the most powerful demon in the world, in the universe? I mean, we know nothing about them. We know they died in the backyard of this house that we're sitting in right now. But how? Did they commit suicide? And if they did, were those suicides coerced by Surath so he could get their souls? And that brings us to what we were talking about earlier. If Surath is working independently, has he kept these souls for himself? You know, is he building a kingdom for himself which will threaten heaven and hell?
Okay, well, assuming he is, then it's safe to assume that any soul he manipulates will be his at some point, including ours.
That is a very scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
And really, what makes things even more complicated and scary is we're caught right in the middle of this. On one side, we've got Surath manipulating us to release his book or books. On the other, we've got Gounod and the Viking playing their passive-aggressive, oh, you've got a big decision to make, but we're not going to tell you everything you need to make that decision easy game, right?
Yeah.
And in this twisted four-way, there's Lucifer and his creepy monkey crow minion things watching us 24/7.
It kind of makes you wonder if this is our destiny. I mean, maybe our souls were always in peril and we didn't know it.
You mean like we were chosen?
Well, yeah. I don't know. Okay. So, is it a coincidence that Mitch, you know, my asshole ex-husband, got transferred to this godforsaken town and then spent the first month away, leaving me alone to experience the hell that lives in this house and to find the tapes of Agatha? And you?
Well, what about me?
Well, you go on this tour, a tour you've done every year, but this time you hear stories about this book. And now we're in this twisted four-way, as you put it. Seems like we never had a chance. And our souls are...
up for grabs?
I was going to say damned, but same difference, I guess. No matter what we do, we're fucked.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, there's a lot in play here. We've already seen that the accepted theories of heaven and hell, everything the church tells us, aren't exactly true. For instance, Gounod told me that we are judged by some panel in purgatory and not by God.
Yes, of souls that cannot leave.
Right. So, it sounds like those are the souls that are damned.
I guess, yeah. But most would say hell is that place.
Yeah, probably. But that brings me to the other thing Gounod said.
Heaven and hell aren't what we think it is?
Yes. So, if it's not what we think it is, then what the hell is it? And if it's purgatorians judging us, does that lend some credibility to the concept that evil is just a darker shade of good?
Maybe, but Gounod said we are judged on the good and evil we do. So maybe not.
Yeah, but he also said that we get to choose where we go. So maybe hell isn't evil and heaven isn't good.
Oh, this all just makes my brain hurt.
Yeah, I know. It's sort of a mindfuck for sure. But, all right, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. Gounod said he hadn't earned his way into either place.
Yeah, and...
Well, when he mentioned the whole evil and good thing, he mentioned it in the context of balance.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier.
Right. So what if the purgatorians who judge us have different definitions of what good and evil are?
Okay, go on.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's all I got.
Okay, how about this?
Okay.
In one of Ariel's notes we found, and I think we posted this one, something about evil wanting to give you what you want, whereas good doesn't.
Right, I remember that one.
Okay, so if you lived a life of indulging in the 7 sins, you're on the highway to hell. If you've abstained from everything, you take the stairway to heaven.
Okay. Well, in a way, that's sort of what the Satanic Church thinks. You know, they believe that there's no reason to think that indulging in anything will make you suffer eternally.
So what we do does determine where we go. So maybe free will isn't bullshit after all.
Yeah, I don't know. But if your theory is right, there's going to be a whole lot of people disappointed to find heaven isn't this magical place full of puppies and virgins and unicorns.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be them.
Yeah, me neither. But getting back on a more serious note, we can't ignore the Surath wild card.
What wild card?
Okay, well, purgatory is the stopping point between heaven and hell. So if Surath is keeping these souls for himself, there is no layover in purgatory.
Oh shit, you're right. So we're back to being fucked.
Well, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, the truth is we're already in this and there's no going back. I mean, the warnings that we've gotten through all the notes and everything, they've made that perfectly clear.
So what, we just...
Keep going, yes. Rather than focus on the state of our mortality, we focus on what Surath is doing with the souls of the dead that are associated with this investigation. You know? So how many deaths are we up to right now? 19?
20 if you count Ariel.
Okay, 20. 20 so far. There could be more.
Okay, but hold on.
All right.
If souls go straight to purgatory, how can Surath take, or at the very least control, those souls?
You know, I don't know for sure, but I think right now we need to operate under the assumption that Surath is playing by his own rules. So, if you believe that there needs to be this balance, that would mean that there's an agreement between God and Lucifer that guardian angels and demons, they operate by a set of rules where they can only escort souls meant for them, right? So, Surath seems to be taking whatever soul he wants.
Are you suggesting that angels and demons aren't beholden to those rules? That they have free will like us?
Well, I never really thought about angels and demons having free will, but if you think about it, the Great War in Heaven, I mean, that's just angels exercising free will. And Alec, the guardian angel in God Failed, you know, he kept doing things he wasn't supposed to do.
Okay, so if angels and... Wally! Jesus, Wally!